Welcome back to Netrush Report, your home for the rivalries, controversies, and emotional roller coasters that make tennis the most dramatic sport on earth. If you live for the fire, the meltdowns, the heartbreaks, and the battles that happen both on and off the court, make sure you smash that subscribe button and join the rush. Let's rewind to last year. Jack Draper had just announced himself to the world in the most dramatic fashion possible, a US Open semifinal run. For a 22-year-old Brit, this wasn't just a breakthrough, it was a statement. But after that high came the crash. Draper was thrown straight into the Davis Cup group stage for Great Britain, with zero recovery time. He battled through grueling matches against Francis Tiafoe and Gabriel Diallo, but the spark wasn't the same. His body looked heavy, his movement slightly off. And that's when Draper gave us a quote that should have made the ADP sit up and listen. "The schedule is mental." That was Draper's blunt assessment. No sugarcoating, no PR spin, just raw honesty from a rising star already feeling the sport's suffocating demands. Instead of pushing on to Shanghai, Draper pulled the plug. He skipped one of the biggest Masters tournaments in Asia, and instead took a calculated gamble to recover before Vienna. And guess what? It worked. He reached the quarterfinals in Austria, validating his decision. For many fans, Draper's 2024 choice looked like a genius act of self-preservation. But what we didn't know at the time was that it was only the beginning of a much bigger problem. Fast forward to this year. Draper's warning about the mental calendar wasn't just a clever complaint, it was a prophecy. The physical toll came due, and this time, there was no dodging it. In spring, during the clay season, Draper began to feel a persistent ache in his upper left arm, the serving arm. By Wimbledon, that ache had turned into something far nastier. He fell in the second round to Marin Cilic, not because of tactics, but because every serve looked like it was tearing through him. Scans revealed the truth. A bone bruise on his humerus, a classic repetitive strain injury. Not a clean break. Not something that heals in 2 weeks. A slow, lingering reminder that too much pounding on the same motion, without proper rest, eventually cracks even the strongest frame. From there, it all unraveled. Draper withdrew from Canada, then Cincinnati, hoping to nurse himself back in time for the US Open. But even in New York, the stage of his breakthrough, his body refused to cooperate. After one match, he pulled out ahead of his second-round clash with Bergs. Days later, he confirmed the worst. "It is very difficult for me to accept, as I was building some incredible momentum this year and playing some great stuff. However, I've been through this before, and I always come back stronger as I'm so motivated to fulfill my potential as a player." And just like that, his 2025 season was over. Shanghai? Missed again. Year-end finals? Gone. Momentum? Stalled. Now, let's talk about Draper's style. Because this isn't just bad luck, it's physics. Jack Draper's serve is a cannon. He regularly clocks 130 mph plus, and it's one of his biggest weapons. But like every double-edged sword, it cuts both ways. That much velocity puts enormous pressure on the arm, especially when combined with the sheer volume of matches demanded by the tour. Draper himself admitted something telling. "It surprised me a little bit that even when I do serve full out, my service numbers and my aces aren't where I want them to be." That's not just frustration, it's revelation. He's putting his arm through hell and still not getting the payoff he expects. Compare that with Novak Djokovic, who Draper himself name-dropped. Djokovic doesn't have a cannonball serve. He's not hitting 140 miles per hour bombs. But his accuracy, spin, disguise, and variety make his delivery one of the most underrated in history. Draper acknowledged this. Sometimes almost reining it in is not a bad thing. You see the top servers ever to play. Someone like a Novak Djokovic. He hits his spots incredibly well. He's not banging it at 140 miles per hour. They're using slices, spins, different variations. It's not all about how fast you hit your serve. It's about how effective it is. This is the crossroads Draper faces. Adapt his game to protect his body, or risk turning into another casualty of the ADP calendar. And here's where Draper's story becomes more than personal. It becomes political. Because Draper isn't alone. The ADP and WTA schedules are notorious for being brutal. Back-to-back tournaments across continents, minimal off-season recovery, endless points to defend. It's a machine that chews through even the strongest. Rafael Nadal has spoken about it. Novak Djokovic has criticized it. Even Roger Federer in his later years was careful to pick and choose events. But for a younger star like Draper, still building his ranking and reputation, skipping tournaments isn't just tough, it's risky. Miss a Masters 1000, and you lose ranking points, momentum, and money. Yet play too many, and you risk burnout and injury. It's the unsolvable paradox of modern tennis. And Draper is living proof of the cost. For British tennis, Draper's injury is more than just a personal setback. It's a national gut punch. He's not just another player. He's the British #1, currently ranked #7 in the world. With Andy Murray in the twilight of his career and Cameron Norrie struggling for consistency, Draper is supposed to be the torchbearer. His semifinal at the 2024 US Open had the media buzzing with comparisons. Was he the next Andy Murray? Could he do what Tim Henman and Greg Rosetsky couldn't? Now, instead of building on that hype, Draper is sidelined again. For fans in Britain, it's heartbreak. For Draper, it's déjà vu. Sports scientists and coaches are already weighing in. Some point to overtraining. Others say his explosive style was always going to lead to this unless he made adjustments. One former ADP physio told The Times, "The tour doesn't give young players a chance to recover properly." Draper's injury is a perfect example of what happens when you combine high velocity, serving with zero downtime. The good news? This isn't a career-ending injury. Bone bruises heal. Repetition can be adjusted. Draper is already talking about modifying his serve, taking a page out of Djokovic's book. The question is, will the patience pay off? If he comes back fully fit in 2026, this year off could be the best decision of his career. If he rushes, though, the same cycle could repeat. Fans are split. Some are heartbroken, flooding Draper's social media with encouragement. Take your time, Jack. We need you healthy for the long run. Don't worry about Shanghai. Your time will come. Others are frustrated at the system. How many more stars do we need to lose before the ADP fixes the schedule? This isn't a Jack Draper problem. This is a tennis problem. The debate is alive, and Draper is right at the center of it. At the core of this story is something more human than rankings or stats. It's resilience. Draper could have sulked. He could have lashed out at the tour, blamed his body, blamed bad luck. Instead, he chose hope. I've been through this before, and I always come back stronger. That's the mindset of a fighter. And it's why fans believe Draper's story isn't over. It's just paused. Jack Draper's tale is a cautionary one. What began as a complaint about a mental schedule has turned into a brutal reality: burnout, injury, and an early season end. But it's also a story of promise. If Draper can adapt, if he can protect his body, and if the tour one day learns to protect its players, this could be just a chapter, not the ending. So the question we'll leave you with is this: is Jack Draper's injury just bad luck? Or is he proof that tennis's schedule is destroying its own future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the drama, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of the rush. This is Netrush Report, signing off.